Hi everyone, welcome back to the Anand studio. Today we have Mr. Lokenath Chatterjee from the BJP talking to us. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
So we'll jump straight in to our discussion. But before
Please.
that, Kaman Asan Apni.
No. I hope better days and tidings can befall all of us.
Yep. Let's talk about this SSC recruitment issue that's happening today. There's quite a bit of news coming in from West Bengal around that. Okay, everybody is talking about it. So I would like to get your perspective and your thoughts around what is this all about? What really is the issue? What has happened? And your perspective around that.
Yeah. So we are discussing something quite topical today. Something which has taken West Bengal really, and in fact the entire country's seen what has been a literal potboiler thriller movie kind of sorts. This is as I was mentioning some other time. This just portrays everything that is wrong with politics, and this is something that really is fodder for the naysayers who really try and say that politics is not the cup of tea of gentlemen. This has all the stars that you need. This has pot-bellied politician. This has the plot has women. The plot has money. The plot has corruption. The plot has politics. The plot has power, and the plot also has judiciary. Ultimately, it's truth alone triumphs and all of it. So justice prevails. So therefore, this makes for a very, very interesting plot. Someone had remarked the other day that perhaps one can start a web series based on it. But the entire country was agog with what they were seeing. The entire country was agog with huge piles of cash and with a small photograph of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman peeking out from a bag, and the pot-bellied politician and his close lady aide. So all of this, this was pursuant to the Enforcement Directorate making raids into properties and finding out so much of money into it. So we'll just, cutting to the chase, getting to the meat of the issue. I'll quickly explain what the issue is all about. After the left-front government had been, evicted from Bengal in 2011, Mamtaji's government came, and 2012 onwards, they started all recruitment processes in Bengal for the purpose of government-aided schools in various positions. Uh, so there are, Group C, Group D recruitments. There are other recruitments where assistant teachers are also recruited, primary teachers are recruited. So in the higher levels, the recruitment follows a pattern of an objective type test, which is also known as the teacher's eligibility test, colloquially the TET. And then there is a written exam after that, followed by an interview. And with then there are, for the other categories, there are different ways of going about it. So now, the immediate issue came up in pertaining to the 2014 recruitment, Group D recruitment in by the School Service Commission. And the School Service Commission in 2014, lakhs of people had, applicants had filed their applications, and then they had prepared a panel. That panel was valid till 2019. Then some applicants saw that there were several people who had been recruited despite the panel having expired in 2019, and that formed the genesis of the litigation filed before the High Court at Calcutta, which incidentally is the oldest High Court in the country. So there, the matter came up before Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay, and I'll relate, what's happened all of it after that. There are several parallel streams of, developments side by side which have happened. We'll go into all of that. So it came up, and then the petitioners, the applicants had pointed out that there were 25 such names which were featuring in the panel, but then they the panel had expired and said they could, so they could not be recruited. So then when the matter came, was dealt with further, it was found that it was not 25. There were a far larger number of names which were featuring in that manner. And then when the question of an expired panel came up, how come people could be recruited on the basis of a panel of names which had already expired, which had, the time for which had passed. So then the SSC, the government pointed out, the board pointed out that this was on the basis of, recommendations made by the SSC. So the SSC said that no, we had never recommended names on the, on an expired panel. So then the real dispute came up before the court. So one government instrumentality is saying that we did not recommend names, and the other government instrumentality saying that no, they have recommended names. We had given recruitment on the basis of such recommendations. So the illegality came out in the open.
Just one question there.
Please.
Who proceeded with the court on this?
So there were, several applicants who had tried to, who were unsuccessful and who were part of the expired panel. And so those were the people who were, really, they had gone and approached the court.
Okay.
So, this was the genesis of, then we have an entire Pandora's box opening. So now the issue comes up then. So therefore the court said that very well, we have to really get into the meat of the issue, because you really have certain illegal appointments being made, and these people are, and these are public appointments, these are by government agencies, these and so this is absolutely legal. So the question of illegality was not something which was important, which was disputed, but this is something as to what the court had to do after all of this had happened. So therefore this issue really became important. Now this is perhaps the School Service Commission fraudulent appointments is perhaps the biggest fraud unearthed in Bengal so far. Although in the small tenure of the Trinamool Congress government, there have been huge number of frauds which have taken place. We'll just get to it quickly. So therefore the issue of state level selection test 2014, 2016 the recruitment process began, and then 2019 there was an expired panel. In fact, I'll give the names of the petitioners also, on the basis of which the matter was referred to the Central Bureau of Investigation. The job aspirants, there was Sandeep Prasad, there was Sabina Yasmin, there was Setab Uddin. All of them, they had flagged the irregularities in the recruitment scams. They had filed separate petitions in the High Court. In fact, in 2021, you had the Sandeep Prasad petition being filed. And in fact, in the petition, it was stated that several persons who had got lower marks, less marks, but then they were ranked higher up in the merit list. And in fact, kudos to the judge. The judge really played a stellar role. And in fact, why I really said kudos to the judge, I will explain a bit while later. When the judge went on going about it, more such cases came to light. And then the court ultimately fired those people who had received jobs illegally, and said that, in fact, the court even went on to the extent that you've received illegal appointments, and so therefore your salaries should also be returned. In fact, there was a daughter of a sitting minister of the Mamata government who was also appointed in such illegal manner. We'll come to it again. The government so this is one incident. The second one was of 2016, where they had issued a notification for recruitment of 13,000 Group D staff in state government-run schools. Now, the Board of Secondary Education again came up, and they really there was this same kind of dispute, Board of Secondary Education and the School Service Commission. So therefore, with respect to Group C and Group B, staff and teachers scam, these were ultimately referred to the Central Bureau of Investigation in state government run schools and state government aided schools run by the West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. So this was the issue in very brief. Now, if you look at it, the recruitment process is through the TET, which is the Teachers Eligibility Test, which is 2014. The question, it was also arose that such appointments were made in a very dubious manner. Wrong questions were given, answer keys were set in a manner so as to mislead the eligible candidates, and the TET failed, and even ineligible candidates of 2014, they were selected as assistant teachers in primary schools, although they did not even answer the multiple choice questions, MCQs, and submitted blank answer scripts, only where they mentioned their personal names and particulars and details. And an additional panel was created, and those who did not pass TET of 2014, their names made it to the panel. Now, all of this scam, now we can call it a scam, happened during the tenure of the then Education Minister of West Bengal, Dr. Partha Chatterjee, who was a very, very close aide of the Chief Minister. Mamata Banerjee, who was the Secretary General of the Trinamool Congress, and till date whose positions in the political party have not been taken away. So this is in very brief, what was the issue. We'll come to the cases also individually. Now, Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay, he directed Central Bureau of Investigation to take over the illegalities and the wrongful appointments, the manner in which these were made, and the conspiracy angle and all, they were referred to the CBI for investigation. The state government, as usual, went upon appeal before the division bench. Now, there was a one-man committee, which is a retired, headed by, comprising a retired judge of the Calcutta High Court, Justice R.K. Bagh. He was also appointed to prepare and give a report. Now, all of this, the back and forth between the single bench and the division bench comprises 2 judges, before the Calcutta High Court happened. And then came the report of Justice R.K. Bagh. The report was damning. In over 100-page judgment of the division bench, which is the higher bench, in a way, the decisions and directions given by Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay sitting singly were affirmed and confirmed. And the matters which were referred to the CBI were asked to be investigated. And the orders were sustained. So the state government did not manage to obtain much relief there. Now, after all of this happened, there is a certain parallel stream. Then I'll come back to this issue a while later. Parallelly, what happened was, while Justice Gangopadhyay was going and unearthing, getting to the root of all of this, we had a section of lawyers owing allegiance to the Trinamool Congress. They held the entire High Court at Calcutta to hostage. They tried to boycott the court. They sought to boycott the judge. They sought to pass resolutions. And then it was a nightmarish, one of the hellish days which the oldest High Court of the country ever witnessed. It was one of the darkest chapters in the history of the justice delivery system in our country, for that matter. Hundreds of people wearing black coats. We don't know whether they were lawyers or not. We don't know whether they practiced before this Calcutta High Court or not. They descended, and then they created mayhem inside the court premises. It was a nightmarish situation to watch. Representations were made to the Honorable Governor of West Bengal. The Honorable Governor issued a strongly worded letter to the Chief Minister saying that these kind of incidents should not happen. The Honorable Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court had to take cognizance of this matter. And the President of the Bar Association of the High Court at Calcutta, which is the largest association of lawyers in the state and also in the High Court, he was heckled, he was attacked, And they sought, it was Jungle Raj ruling inside the High Court premises, hitherto unheard of, unforeseen, never even imagined. Now, lawyers who were trying to appear before Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay, they were prevented from appearing. They were being physically prevented. And if a male lawyer tried to enter, there would be female lawyers blocking their path. And without any pretext or the other, they would accuse the male lawyer of seeking to outrage modesty or something to that effect. So this is what these kind of scenes were witnessed in the High Court here. People, the courtroom was being sought to be boycotted. Hundreds of lawyers were up in arms. And there was the vast silent majority, of course, which did never agreed to all of these high-handed tactics. And then, however, a section of lawyers, of course, with a nationalistic bent of mind, they disagreed with all of these. And then they barged in forcefully. And then somehow, things reached a point where people started appearing before Justice Gangopadhyay. In fact, even several days after it, for weeks, lawyers owing allegiance to the Trinamool Congress, they were writing down names of lawyers who were entering that courtroom. They were standing outside, although may not be physically preventing, but nevertheless trying to demonstrate a show of might. This is one parallel stream which happened. Now, I'll quickly come to the cases, where these were referred to, the CBI, these recruitment issues. All of this, these parallelly along with this, there are investigations being carried out by the CBI pertaining to the post-poll violence in Bengal. There are investigations being carried out pertaining to the Haskhali rape. There are investigations being carried to the horrific carnage in Rampurhat, Birbhum district in central Bengal, where people had been burnt inside their homes. Several people inside a village in that district. So all of these investigations, there were investigations being carried out by the CBI pertaining to death of Congress councillor. So there are several of these being carried out. And then these batch of matters came in. These batch of matters came in where you would find several important leading cases where several issues pertaining to illegal recruitment and this recruitment scam being referred to the CBI. The first was on 22nd of November, 2021, which is in the matter of Sandeep Prasad Shaw. If I read a few portions, the Honorable Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay, and all of these were passed by Justice Gangopadhyay. He said that after getting the affidavit of the board today, I find that the CBI inquiry is required to identify the miscreants in this matter by whom some letters of recommendations were issued and the board acted on that. On the basis of the board's affidavit, I find that the commission is not acting in clear hands. I direct the CBI to constitute a committee headed by an officer not below the rank of joint director to initiate the inquiry. And it is expected that no persons will be left out of this inquiry. So the judge was very categorical, and the judge had really got some hint during the process of hearing that definitely there is something much more to it than meets the eye. And there are definitely issues of high political persons. There are important, there is a great nexus in all of this which is operating, due to which these forged or maybe fabricated letters of recommendation were claimed to have been issued. However, they were never issued. So all of this, there was, I'll quickly explain, that it was the government tried to explain that there was a committee, 5-member committee, which scrutinized and which gave the letters of recommendations. There is no question of any committee being formed in the law. So the law does not permit any such committee to be formed. The law does not permit any such members to have been randomly selected for any such committee. And the law does not permit them, the government, to act in the manner in which it acted. The second was the matter which was referred to CBI was on 15th of February 2022 in the matter of Sabina Yasmin. There, again, it was referred to the CBI investigation. The court said that the CBI is to file the preliminary report by the 16th of March, which is a day later. So the court was so serious on it. In fact, the court said that it is expected that no person having the smallest involvement in the scam will be left out of this inquiry. CBI should also inquire a very important part of this serious illegality and irregularity as to whether there is any money trail in issuance of such recommendation letters and subsequent issuance of appointment letters to the persons. The preliminary report is to be filed. So therefore, the court now went on to the extent of seeking to find out whether there is a money trail.
Mhm.
And the court tried to find out, had directed that, the names and addresses of the persons who had sent the letters of recommendation and the letters of appointment, they should disclose in their affidavit the total amount of money they received as salary. So therefore, all of these illegal appointments were sought to be, the court was taking steps to steadily, strike down on such wrongful appointments and then maybe and proceed towards directing them to refund their salaries. The next was on 28th of February 2022. So this was in the matter of Nasrin Khatun. So there, the court came to a slight conclusion that there is definitely corruption. And due to such corruption, the court was had to direct investigation by CBI. And the court said that unless the highly placed persons having huge influence had the blessing in committing such scam in public employment, such illegalities could not have happened. CBI shall also inquire about the involvement of the persons invisible now, under whose hands the officers of the commission, if at all, danced like a puppet and committed illegality. CBI shall also inquire whether there is any money trail in respect of such appointments when admittedly, as appears from the aforesaid report of the chairman, the appointed persons were not at all in the panel or in the wait list. So therefore, people were given appointments whose names did not even feature in the list or even in the waiting list. So this is blatant illegality on its face. It is, the court further notes, it is extremely surprising that some candidates have been appointed as assistant teachers when their names were not in the list, either in the panel or in the wait list. Unless a person secures a place, either in the panel or in the wait list, he cannot be recommended either at the time of recommendation from the panel or thereafter from the wait list. A person can never be recommended by the School Service Commission, which is a statutory authority, when he was not in the panel or in the wait list. But here, this has happened. So therefore, the school chairman, School Service Commission and all, it is, they were asked to be really investigated by the CBI, and the CBI was directed to file a preliminary report very soon. The court was giving a matter of a couple of days or so that the CBI really acts fast and the documents cannot be really interfered with by the people who were at the helm of affairs or who were involved in such scam. The next direction for CBI was given on 3rd of March 2022 in the matter of Sitab Uddin. Now, there, the court holds. Now the court is, matter after matter, the court is getting into the meat of the issue and is really trying, and further names are cropping up and coming out. So the real story is coming to light steadily. The court notes, now the names of some government officers have come to light from the said government order dated 1/11/2019. And naturally, the government is behaving in a steadfast manner for resisting the inquiry, not even an investigation by one independent agency like CBI. All cases where this court gave direction for inquiry are covered by this order. By this order of 1/11/2019, hitherto unknown to the public in general, and this scam in public employment cannot be continued. As the order of the government has already been, the court holds, I also direct the CBI inquiry, as the CBI is an expert agency which is not under the control of the state government, in a scam where a committee has been formed with the important offices of the state government by the school education department. I direct the director CBI to again find out. It is expected that all persons named in the said order of the government authority, including the competent authority with whose concurrence the order was issued, and any other person from whom CBI want to gather facts for inquiry of the matter, should come under the umbrella of the inquiry. So therefore, the court really gives some support to the CBI to inquire and question all persons, and the court really expands the scope. So therefore, CBI, unless highly placed persons, court notes, having huge influence, had the hands in committing such scam in public employment, such illegality could not have happened. Such illegal appointees, who are sometimes below some deserving rank holders, or sometimes not even in the list, even which is unthinkable, have got public employment in schools where salaries are paid from public exchequer, which could not have happened had there not been the interference and or directions by the extremely influential persons. CBI shall also inquire whether there is any money trail in respect of such appointment. It appears from the report of the commission and answers given by one of its officers indicating the corruption at the instance of the convener of the committee, that the appointed person's rank was below the first three petitioners and equal to the marks of the fourth petitioner. So therefore, the court now has gotten to the committee which was formed, the existence of which was not known to people, the existence of which acted as a body superior to that of the statutory school service commission. The next matter, now these are happening in quick succession. The next matter in
and
which
all these are in the public domain anyways, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so
all the judgments and all the sequence is all there in public domain, right?
No, yeah. So therefore, quickly, just to get, give the flow of facts.
Definitely.
Then the very important matter of Lakshmi Tunga of 31st March 2022, there the court gets to the name of one Shanti Prasad Sena regarding the committee. Then next, in the matter of Anindita Bera, on 7th of April, the court again directs CBI inquiry into appointment of assistant teachers in classes 9 and 10. So the court expands the scope, and steadily it is going to matters of corruption, in fact, even in other recruitments also of educational institutions. So it was Group D, Group C, now comes to assistant teachers and many others. Next, in the matter of Mohammad Abdul Ghani of 12th of April 2022, again, matters were referred to the CBI for investigation. Then in the matter of Babita Sarkar in 17th of May, again it was referred to CBI. Here the name of Ankita Adhikari, daughter of a sitting minister of the ruling government here in Bengal, features. And again the matter was referred to investigation by the CBI. On 13th of June, in the matter of Ramesh Malik, again it was referred to CBI. Here there was an additional panel, illegality, all of it. And so therefore, by and large, these were the matters where it was referred to the CBI. Now, all of this investigation, if you look at it, the recent, hue and cry is on the basis of the enforcement directorate's raids and all being conducted. So these were all referred to the CBI by the Calcutta High Court, and more so specifically by Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay. I'll give you another parallel thing which was going on all this while. For the last 1 year or so, in fact, even beyond that, several applicants in all of these employment opportunities with the government, they were sitting in protests in several parts of the city, or in the part of the city primarily known as the Maidan. So there, these job applicants who were denied of, and illegal appointments were made in their place and stead. So they were sitting on continuous protests. And in fact, many a times the police came, attacked them, arrested them, took them away. But then again, they went to the court. They had they were forced to go to the court to secure even the right to protest. And so all of these students, they continued, job applicants, they continued protesting, come rain, come hail, come snow, come winter, come summer. Continuously, they were protesting on the streets. If you walk down those parts of the city, you will find these students with banners, with posters, continuously protesting. So this is something which was happening all this while. The government tried all with all its might to get these job applicants, shoo them away, to push them out. So this is something which was happening. Even today, it's, even as we speak, it is going on. And these job applicants continued with their protests. So now, coming to the recent developments. So all of this, with this, the money trail and all came to the fore. Then the Enforcement Directorate took, cognizance of it. And then through the CBI, they got information. And then slowly, steadily, they went on to the money trail. Now, the Enforcement Directorate, while raiding the then Education Minister, so when they were raiding his house, they found certain property documents with one Arpita Mukherjee. So there, when he was questioned, the then Education Minister was questioned as to who's this Arpita Mukherjee? What are these properties? With, why do you have these properties? Please give us some particulars. He was unable, and he was really avoiding, evading, giving evasive replies, due to which suddenly, very quickly, the ED decided to raid Arpita Mukherjee's flat and then opened the can of worms. Then people saw 21 crores in currency in the huge heap which people saw across the television screens. They had to get bankers to count the cash. They had to, really get experts. And the interrogation of Partho Chatterjee continued for over 26, 27 hours. And this raid, where this lady's name cropped up, this lady's flat was raided, around 79 lakhs in jewelry was found. Foreign currency of around 50 lakhs was found. There were around 20 mobile phones and SIM cards. There were several property documents, one after the other. Everything came out like a can of worms, and it became a huge issue. Names of other women also cropped up. There were apparently other women with whom he had, these close liaison. And then property documents also came up, where they had jointly purchased properties. So this Partho Chatterjee and Arpita Mukherjee, they were part of several companies where they purchased again properties, assets, and then they, in a way, laundered money there. And then under the wad of notes, there is a picture of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the founder of Bangladesh in a way. Then cropped up the Association of Bangladesh, which brought in international element to this scam.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So there, after that, once they inquired the name of one company and some business people with links across Bangladesh and India, that cropped up. It was found that these business people, or this business person, is a close aide of the then Education Minister, and huge amounts of money would be taken away through international channels, illegal channels to Bangladesh and beyond. So whether these were used in the process of money laundering, that's yet to be seen. As we speak today, the ED sent teams across to North Bengal. They've sent teams to several other parts of the state. They've sent, in fact, their team is in one flat of that lady, and there they found out further cash. Further cash counting machines have been dispatched. They've been seen entering that place. And in the flat of that lady, they found a black book and a Pioneer notebook. In the black book, the ED claims that there are entries across several pages which will explain the conspiracy, which will explain the scam in greater details. There are 30, 40 pages of it. There are several entries there. And mind you, there were envelopes, documents, letterheads of the official board, secondary education, in the flat. So what were these documents doing in a private person's flat? What does this lady have to do with it? So therefore, this lady, this huge money, and this lady was seen with the minister. She was campaigning with the minister during his elections. He's an MLA from Behala Paschim Assembly constituency. And this lady had campaigned. This lady was seen in stage shows. This lady was seen, this lady also has associations with that business house with links in Bangladesh. And this lady was also part of, there are videos where the chief minister acknowledges this lady in a stage program. This chief minister says very well, oh, you were in Orissa, you know how to speak Odia. Oh, I know this lady, she's here. She also goes to Bobby's place. Bobby's Firad Hakim, the mayor of Calcutta. So therefore, there is another, this lady also has links to that person. And so all of these videos suddenly surfaced. And this lady also, this lady, if you look at the condition of her mother, it looks really, she lives in squalor and poverty. It is seen that's the way the media had also spoken to her mother. But and this lady was living in all riches. So therefore, this lady has links to all of them. And then this lady was there in Trinamool Congress programs. So the link, and now the spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress says that this minister or this lady, and this is all their personal thing, the government has nothing to do with. Absolutely, this is foolish, because all of these links have come to light. And so therefore, these raids are continuing. There are several names which have cropped up. There are several names which will again tumble out. And then there are personal assistants of the minister who's threatened to spill the beans. So therefore, and where that money is traveled and everything. So this again explains a lot of things together. So therefore, what Bengal saw, what the country saw, what the world saw was possibly one of the worst episodes of political corruption in the country, in a very ugly manner. The land of Vivekananda, the land of Tagore, the land of Ramakrishna Paramhansa definitely did not have to see these times. It's a very ugly sight for our state. It's a very sad development. And really, this is something which we are seeing together today, but this has been happening over the past decade. So it is essentially, while we were oblivious to it, these things were happening behind our backs. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Perhaps there remains a lot more. And definitely the nation has a lot to ask.
Right. So has Arpita Mukherjee given some statement today? Because I just read something saying that she has told that her house was being used like a bank and all that. Is that true?
This is something which came out in the media, that Arpita Mukherjee said that her house has been used as a bank and everything. So this is something, we again need to, further details need to come out, because now she's again, okay, I'll relate a very important incident. So moment this person was arrested, Lokenath Chatterjee was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. Then the matter was, then they had applied for bail before the Chief Metropolitan Magistrates Court in Calcutta. The bail was rejected. However, Lokenath Chatterjee had filed another application which was not made available to the lawyers of the ED or to the Enforcement Directorate, where they had obtained orders of getting him treated in SSKM Hospital, which is the premier hospital in Bengal, and in fact one of the colloquially known as the PG hospital also. So there, and the order that whenever he's interrogated, his lawyer will remain present, and the lawyer was named, the hospital was named. Unheard of these kind of orders. Now the ED approached the High Court. This was Friday, this order was passed. Saturday, this order was passed. Saturday evening, the ED approached the High Court. The ED said that this is an extremely sensitive and important matter. It has to be heard. So the High Court convened a special bench on Sunday at 4 p.m. where this matter was heard. And the court, Justice Vivek Chaudhary, he gave an order where the court said that he has, if he feels that he needs medical attention, he has to go to the, he can be taken to AIIMS Bhubaneswar. Incidentally, the ED had gotten some medical reports from ESI hospital in Calcutta, where ESI said that he is very well, he is fit and fine. There is no need for him to get hospitalized. But nonetheless, the ED, so then after this order, the SSKM hospital, they said, no, he has several other problems and all of it. And they gave fancy medical names to it, whereby it was said that they will, So he needs medical attention and he needs to be hospitalized. So the court came down very heavily on it. The court said that no, he has to be referred to AIIMS Bhubaneswar, and AIIMS Bhubaneswar would treat him, would check him and find out. AIIMS Bhubaneswar came out with the medical report saying that there is nothing wrong with him. He has some chronic problems, and so therefore there is nothing worrisome about it. But then this again.
One question: why did the court refer to AIIMS Bhubaneswar? Why not some hospital in West Bengal?
That's very important. I'll just indicate. The court, mentioned that the doctors, they start medical treatment by taking the Hippocratic oath. And the court says that however, the incredibility of the medical practitioners and doctors, that should never be assumed. However, the court notes our experience as a common man with regard to the role of doctors attached to SSK, Super Speciality Hospital, is not happy. This is in the order of the High Court last Sunday. In recent past, the court says that more than one high-ranking official belonging to the ruling political party, they were arrested or they were directed to appear before the investigating authorities for investigation. And then they successfully avoided interrogation by taking shelter in the hospital. I'll just give one example of one incident. I'll just tell that. So the court said that when they found that there was no possibility for the investigating agency to interrogate the suspects having strong political background, so under the umbrella of the ruling political party, they were discharged. So moment the investigating agency gave them a notice, they would get themselves admitted to the Woodburn ward, which is the most important ward of the hospital, and which is the most prestigious ward, where thousands, in fact lakhs of people from, it is the chief referral hospital of Bengal, lakhs of people from across the state, they really vie for a seat there, and it's very difficult to get a bed in such hospital. And in fact, many lives could get saved if at least some more beds are made available at the SSK hospital. So then the court said that they even avoided production before the court on the strength of the medical report issued by the hospital. And under such background, and considering the fact that the senior most cabinet minister of Bengal was who has immense power and position, so it would not be impossible for such Partho Chatterjee, with the aid of other political executives, to take shelter under the garb of serious medical illness and medical treatment to evade investigation. The court notes that Lady Justice will be cursed by the tears of hundreds and thousands of deserving candidates whose future was sacrificed in lieu of money. This is the observation of the Honorable High Court. The next day, they moved an application before the court saying that you please, expunge all of these observations. The court refused to do so. So these observations still stand on record of file. And in fact, the high courts of the country, as we know, by virtue of Article 215 of the Constitution of India, courts of record. So this is very important. So this answers your question. This is the state of the premier hospital in Bengal. So the judiciary has lost complete faith in the system of Bengal. And in fact, for people in Bengal, I must tell you that they've got no faith in the legislature. They've got no, and the legislature hardly functions and does not function in a proper manner. They've got no faith in the executive, very little faith in the press. It's only the judiciary which has kept the people, the hopes and aspirations of people alive. So this is something perhaps very, very important to note.
So, of course,
and then just to conclude, the matter of the court case. So then, they were Monday last, they were produced, and then they were, day before. So, they virtually appeared, and then they were remanded to further custody till the 3rd of August. And now all of this is raids and all are happening. Yeah.
Got it. So the usual response from TMC will be that BJP is making all this up. It's making a big hue and cry of something that's not as crucial or critical. Okay, how do you respond to that?
This is, absolutely foolish and stupid, because this is essentially the High Court, the CBI, the ED, and the CBI has been functioning under directions of the High Court, under the supervision of the High Court. And the ED has also been functioning in a manner which is, again, known to the public. So therefore, there is nothing surprising here. And in fact, the people of the state are angry. They wanted these arrests to happen much earlier, because it was getting quite evident that these are corrupt people. These people have amassed huge amounts of money and resources, and they were flaunting their wealth in a very ugly manner in the eyes of the public. And you see, an elderly gentleman, pot-bellied politician, who's fit enough to be someone's grandfather, is moving around with some random ladies. Several names have cropped up. So it gets very, very ugly, and very ugly display of power, position, authority. And so therefore the people of the state are absolutely convinced, and there is nothing political about it. And in fact, all of these students, they were the ruling government accused them of call them names, accuse them, but then they are protesting not under any political umbrella or banner. They are protesting against, to protect their rights. So they got together and then they started protesting. So therefore there was nothing political about it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So TMC seems to have disowned Mr. Partha, right? And they are trying to
they sought to put up a veneer of disowning him, but the all the water on earth cannot wash their hands, their red hands, clear the blood of their hands. So
even I think TMC has claimed that they are okay with even a fast track process in this regard.
No, that's again, something stupid. Suddenly, why would there be a fast track process? In fact, judiciary, what is being dished out is quite fast in itself. So there is a huge, the issue has snowballed into a huge thing. There are international connections. There is money laundering. There is illegal appointment. There are matters of corruption. So it's a huge, huge, huge issue. So and there are several parts to it. So therefore, it can't really be, why were fast track courts established? What are fast track courts there for? These are for, women who've been violated. These are for children. These are for, people who are belonging to other, heinous crimes. So for such purposes, fast track courts are there. So definitely, why will there be special treatment just because they happen to be ministers? Just because they happen to be part of the ruling government here in Bengal? Absolutely, the judiciary will proceed in the manner in which judiciary should proceed.
Got it. Got it. So what do you think will be the next steps? I know ED is going around investigating, right? And the names of some more people are coming up, looks like, based on the news in the media and all that, right? So what do you think is going to happen in the next few days or months?
No, you see, the way they are proceeding, I mean, definitely ED has managed to uncover a lot. And there is a huge web of where this money has traveled. So it needs to be seen whether this money was entirely usurped by this gentleman and his band of women, or whether this money changed hands and whether this money was taken at someone's behest, or there are other people also involved in this scam. So this really, the issue needs to be taken. And so this is the money laundering aspect. The CBI is also investigating the illegality and the wrongful nature of appointments. So this is again, the conspiracy angle is also being investigated by the CBI. So therefore, this is again something, this huge net which is there, that needs to be really found out. And in fact, it is Partha Chatterjee was such a powerful minister in the government. He was quite close to the chief minister. In fact, he had once remarked that, I'm only second to the chief minister in the state. In fact, importantly, Partha Chatterjee in his arrest memo has given the name of Mamata Banerjee and her phone number. So when they are arrested, they have to name someone. So in the arrest memo, they tried calling up the chief minister, but she never responded to the calls. So, this is the extent to which he relates to the highest person in the state. So, highest political executive in the state. So, therefore, there is a huge, the scam needs to be uncovered. If there are international angles to it, if this money was used for illegal purposes, if this money was used for terrorism, if this money was used to fund, narcotic businesses, if this money was used to, and there are conflicting reports in the media, not conflicting, there are reports in the media that apparently brothels and also were also being run by using such money. So one never knows, the extent of the illegalities perpetrated. One never knows, who were there, because this definitely had the blessings of the administration. In fact, some media reports came today that there are hundreds of dumpers with the name P. Now, God knows what does that P refer to. That would never pay fees and levies at toll plazas. They would carry, material from one place to the other. So these dumpers are lying idle. So one never knows, whether there is any connection between the word letter P, the dumpers, and the ongoing scam being uncovered. So, every day something or the other, every moment rather, some new fact or the other is coming to light. So therefore, all of these have to be investigated, and we'll also have to wait for conclusive reports to the world at large and before the court being filed by the investigating agencies. But since investigation is at a very nascent stage, so there's a lot of ground left to be covered, and definitely it will really lead to a lot of other places also. So again, definitely the net seems to be getting wider by the hour, and God knows where. In fact, even the business person with whom the then education minister had close links, he's also being, there are ED sleuths at his place to investigate and interrogate and all of it. So therefore, let's see, how wide the net gets dragged and where does this ultimately lead to. But definitely, he's a very, very high-ranking and powerful politician in Bengal. He was considered all this while, and so God knows whether it will travel up higher still, and who below were also involved in all of this. Yeah.
Right. And people definitely would want the truth to come out in a timely manner, soon enough, obviously, right? So they really don't want it to be long drawn for years and all that. Hopefully, justice prevails. All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time today and giving
Pleasure.
a perspective in this whole case, and in such great detail, because you are a legal luminary, all right? So, but it's really good to hear the whole chronology of what you have seen happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's this again, as you say, as I've said, this calls for a web series, so of lectures or otherwise. But nonetheless, so there are a lot of masala to the story. So yeah, very, very ugly it seems. Yeah, and it makes us feel ashamed as people of the state to see such gargantuan, huge illegalities of an ugly nature. And perhaps, all the sins of mankind get covered here.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.